Buying new construction without a strategy is one of the fastest ways to overpay for a property in today's market. Right now, you have builders all across South Carolina and the upstate that's sitting on way more inventory than they were a few years ago. And that means for most buyers, you have more leverage than you did previously. But most people that walk into a model home have no idea how much money they're potentially leaving on the table. And the truth of the matter is, having that leverage only matters if you know how to use it. And sometimes the whole model home process and touring the community can somewhat feel like everything is already fixed and decided on, and most buyers don't really know how much more they can ask for. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the biggest mistakes that we see buyers make when they're purchasing new construction. And make sure you stay around to number 5 because it's one of them that most people don't even talk about. So a few months back, I actually had a buyer that reached out to me after they had already gone under contract with a brand new home. They were super excited. It was a new build with all the incentives and the closing cost help, but something for some reason still didn't feel right. So they wanted a second set of eyes on it. So of course, as we began chatting, I asked them if they had an agent that helped represent their interest on the buy side, to which they didn't. I'd asked about conducting their own third-party home inspections, which they hadn't. Did you try to negotiate anything above and beyond the incentives that were on the table? And of course, that answer was no as well. They just assumed that the price was the price on everything. And of course, for this particular family, they didn't do this wrong intentionally. They just didn't know what their options were and what they could ask for. And honestly, that's almost how every new construction mistake begins. And here's the thing that no one really tells you. New construction really isn't its own separate category of real estate, where the same normal rules don't apply any longer. It's still a transaction. There's still room to negotiate. There's still opportunities for home inspections and due diligence. There's still room to apply strategy to make sure you're getting ahead. But of course, sometimes the whole atmosphere and the way things are laid out almost makes it feel like those things are non-negotiable and the price is what it is. Almost like the CarMax of used car experience. And of course, whenever buyers go in unprepared, they potentially leave thousands of dollars on the table. So let's talk about how to not let that happen to you. So just a quick intro, I'm Gary with Homes Ever After, and I help buyers and sellers all across the upstate of South Carolina make smart moves in real estate in a market that's still moving fast. On this channel, I break down what's actually happening in our market, including all the things builders, lenders, and other agents may not always tell you. So here are the 5 biggest mistakes that buyers make with new construction and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1 is skipping the home inspection and assuming it's new, so I don't need to spend the money. Sometimes buyers assume that just because it's new, that it's perfect, and that's not always the case. I've seen new construction homes with missing insulation, faulty HVAC units, framing problems, plumbing issues, and code issues that for some reason slip right past quality control. And just so you know, the builder's walkthrough is not an inspection, it's a tour. So the best thing to do is hire an independent contractor. Get your own third-party inspections. And if possible, do a pre-drywall inspection, depending on the stage of construction the home may be in. That one inspection alone could save you years of headaches moving forward. Make sure you don't fall into the trap of just because thinking it's new that you can save that $500. Trust me when I tell you that's money well spent for that added layer of insurance and peace of mind knowing that if anything does come up on the report, that the builder's going to stand by it and make it right. Mistake number 2 on the list is absolutely huge, and that's not being represented by your own agent, showing up with someone in your corner looking out for your best interest. Because after all, that friendly, smiling face that's sitting in that model home, they work for the builder. They're paid by the builder. They're trained to protect the builder. They're not your advocate. Even when they're nice, even when they smile and say all the right things, they still represent the builder. Make sure you bring your own agent to the very first home tour. The builder almost always pays for their commission, so there's no reason not to have representation and someone in your corner. And the fact that it costs you nothing, you have someone looking out for you 100%. And please avoid walking into a model home just to look. Some builders have a rule that say if you show up without an agent, then your agent can't represent you on that particular property, especially if they have you sign something. Sometimes you can give up representation by showing up solo. Mistake number 3 is not negotiating on the price and assuming all things are fixed. A lot of buyers sometimes think that new construction is really a take it or leave it, but it's not. And in most cases, builders don't usually drop the price of the home because honestly, it affects the comps for the rest of the neighborhood. But they will absolutely negotiate on other things and some of those other miscellaneous fees that show up at the closing table. Closing cost credits, rate buy downs, appliances, smart home packages, the builder warranties, window treatments, blinds, and of course landscaping, all that stuff is included and can be negotiated. In this market, it's best to ask for everything. Stack the incentives. You don't know unless you ask anyways. Compare the builder's lender and ensure you're getting the best deals. Sometimes these incentives are tied to a preferred lender and attorney, and if that be the case, that's fine. But make sure that if there is an option for you to use someone that you know and trust, that you explore all those possibilities. Just don't assume that the price on the sheet is the final price. There's a lot more flexibility than they sometimes let on, especially on inventory that's been sitting for a little while. Mistake number 4 is where buyers can really blow their budget pretty fast. And this is choosing all the wrong upgrades if you go to a design center. The design center is designed to make you spend money you probably don't want to spend, but when you're there, everything is nice and new and shiny, and it's hard to say no. And the trap is most people upgrade the easy cosmetic things that you could do yourself or maybe hire out and save a lot of money in the process. Light fixtures, paint colors, backsplashes, cabinet hardware, all those cosmetic things that while they look nice, are pretty cheap overall. Focus on the structural things, the built-in things. Stuff that's expensive or really hard to change later. Things like extending the patio or adding that sunroom, upgrading windows and additional electrical outlets, hardware floors, taller cabinetry, that extra bathroom, rough-in, unfinished basement area. These are the type of upgrades that add long-term value, and it's worth having done up front. And while it's easy to do, avoid spending $8,000 on fancy fixtures and pendant lighting and that pretty little backsplash when you could have added square footage or something with some real return on the investment. And mistake number 5 is the one that honestly not a whole lot of people talk about. And this is going under contract way too early on a production home. So this is when you go under contract for a home that's not even completed yet. In fact, it could still be months out. This would be a production or a to be built in some markets. And the thing is, you're locking in today's price, today's rate, and you're sometimes waiting 5 to 6 months with zero leverage whatsoever. The builder has it all because they have you locked in. But homes that are already finished are sitting on the builder's books. That's a totally different conversation. Builders pay carrying costs every single month that a home sits without being sold. Taxes, insurance, interest. So the closer a home gets to the end of their fiscal year, the more motivated the builder gets to move inventory. So focus on homes that are move-in ready today or 30 to 60 days out from completion. That's going to be the best value in the business. These are otherwise called spec homes or move-in ready. These are the ones that are finished, sitting, and costing the builder money every single day and where the best deals show up. This is where you're going to get the deepest incentives, the best rate buy downs, and most of all, possibly some negotiation room. So if you can, avoid signing on with a to be built in a brand new neighborhood where the builder has zero pressure right now. You're paying full price after all for a home you can't even walk into yet. So here's the bottom line. New construction can absolutely be an amazing buy in today's market, but only if you go in with the right strategy up front. The buyers who win are the ones who show up with an agent. They get their own inspections. They negotiate hard. They upgrade all the right things, and they time their purchase around finished inventory. And the buyers who lose are honestly the ones who walk into a model home. They fall in love with the kitchen, it's love at first sight, and they sign on the spot. Don't be that buyer, as tempting as it may be. So if you're thinking about new construction, drop a comment down below and let me know which neighborhood or builder that you're looking at. And of course, I can tell you personally what I'm seeing right now in the market. And if you want to know which builders are offering the best incentives this month, watch this next video where I break everything down. We discuss why buying new can make so much sense in a market where rates are relatively high and resellers aren't really offering a whole lot.